My name is Sarah Johnson. I'm 38 years old and live in the suburbs of Columbus, Ohio. Weekday mornings are always hectic. I jump out of bed as soon as my alarm goes off at 6:30 a.m. My husband Michael, 42, has already finished getting ready for work and is sipping coffee in the kitchen. Good morning, Sarah. Looks like another busy day ahead, he says. Yes, but I'll manage. I'm used to it by now, I reply. I work at a local advertising agency. The job is demanding, but fulfilling. After a hurried breakfast, I head upstairs to wake our 17-year-old son, Ethan. Ethan, time to get up, I call out. Just a little longer. He mumbles. Ethan is a high school senior. With college applications looming, he's been under a lot of stress lately. He's had anxiety issues since he was young, and his symptoms tend to flare up when he's feeling pressured. Did you take your medication? I ask. Yes, I'm fine, Ethan answers, rubbing his sleepy eyes. We've been dealing with his anxiety as a family. It took Michael some time to understand our son's condition, but he's supportive now. After finishing our morning routines, we all head out separately. Michael works as a middle manager at a large pharmaceutical company. Ethan takes the school bus, and I drive my own car to work. In the evening, when I return home after finishing work, we gather as a family for dinner. Tonight's menu is Ethan's favorite, lasagna. We sit around the table, sharing stories about our day. Ethan, how was your day? Are you making progress with your college applications? Michael asks. Yes, I'm getting there, Ethan answers, looking a bit tense. My husband and I have high hopes for our son's future. Michael, in particular, seems keen on Ethan attending his alma mater, Ohio State University. Sometimes I worry that our expectations might be putting too much pressure on Ethan. After dinner, Ethan retreats to his room to study. Michael checks some work documents, and I prepare for the next day. Before bedtime, I knock on Ethan's door. Did you take your medication? Let's do our best tomorrow too, I say. Yes, thanks, he replies. It's a peaceful routine. But little did we know that this tranquility was about to be shaken to its core. On Friday afternoon, I left work early to head home. I had a big presentation coming up over the weekend and wanted to focus on preparing at home. As I drove, I was thinking about what to make for dinner. Should I make tacos, Ethan's favorite, or steak, which Michael loves? As I entered our quiet residential area, I heard sirens in the distance. I wonder if someone's fallen ill, I thought as I continued driving. But as the sound of sirens grew louder, a sense of unease crept over me. As I approached our house, I was stunned by the sight before me. An ambulance was parked in front of our home, with paramedics bustling about. My heart began to race. I hastily parked the car and rushed to the front door. It was wide open, and I could hear voices coming from inside. Ethan. Michael. I called out. As I burst into the house, I saw Ethan being placed on a stretcher in the living room. His face was pale, and he seemed to be struggling to breathe. "Are you the mother?" one of the paramedics asked me. "Yes, I am." "What happened to my son?" "Your son called 911 himself. It seems he's having a severe anxiety attack." I locked eyes with Ethan. He was trying to say something, but the words wouldn't come out. "Ethan, it's okay. Mom's here," I said, grasping his hand. With great effort, Ethan managed to squeeze out a few words. "Mom, don't tell Dad." I was confused by his words. Why shouldn't we tell his father? Did something happen? Questions began swirling in my mind. "Ethan, what do you mean?" But Ethan was struggling to breathe again and couldn't speak. "Ma'am, your son's condition isn't stable. We need to transport him to the hospital immediately," the paramedic informed me. "I understand. I'll come along." I quickly grabbed my wallet and phone, then climbed into the ambulance. I sat next to Ethan, holding his hand. Beads of cold sweat had formed on his forehead. As the ambulance drove off, I debated whether to contact Michael. Ethan's words kept replaying in my mind. Why doesn't he want me to tell his dad? Is there something he's hiding? During the ride to the hospital, my mind was a whirlwind of confusion and worry. Ethan's condition, his mysterious words, everything was puzzling, and I couldn't find any answers. Upon arrival at the hospital, Ethan was immediately taken to the treatment room. I was told to wait in the waiting area, where I finally had a moment to catch my breath. I took out my phone, torn about whether to contact Michael. He has a right to know. But I can't ignore Ethan's words either. In the end, I decided to send just a simple message. "Work's running late. Have dinner without me. I don't like lying. But right now, I wanted to respect Ethan's wishes. And I felt a growing need to uncover the truth behind this situation." I sat down in a chair in the waiting room and closed my eyes. In my mind, I tried to piece together the events of the day. How could an ordinary Friday afternoon turn into this? Little did I know that this incident would become a turning point in our family's life. As I sat in the hospital waiting room, I tried to calm my racing thoughts with deep breaths. The wall clock seemed to be moving unusually slowly. Around me, other people waited for news about their loved ones, all wearing similar expressions of tension. "Mrs. Johnson." A nurse's voice snapped me back to reality. "Yes, that's me," I responded. "Your son's condition has stabilized. Please follow me." As the nurse led me to the treatment room, the white corridors and smell of disinfectant heightened my anxiety. When I opened the door, I saw Ethan lying on the bed. His color had improved somewhat, but he still looked exhausted. "Ethan, are you all right?" I asked. Ethan nodded slightly. "Yes, sorry for worrying you," he said. The attending physician approached us. "Mrs. Johnson, your son experienced a severe anxiety attack, but he's stable now. We'll need to keep him under observation for a while, but I think he'll be able to go home tonight." I let out a sigh of relief. "Thank you, doctor." After the doctor left, I sat down next to Ethan. "Ethan, what happened? And, why don't you want me to tell your father? Ethan averted his eyes and paused for a moment, as if choosing his words carefully. Mom. I don't want to talk about it now. But please, promise me you won't tell Dad. The serious look in his eyes convinced me that something significant had occurred. I understand. But when you're feeling better, we need to talk about this, okay? Ethan nodded slightly. At that moment, something crystallized within me. All the years I'd devoted to our family, the trust we'd built, it felt like I could hear it all crumbling in an instant. Mom, is it my fault that our family is falling apart? Ethan's voice trembled. I shook my head firmly. No, Ethan. This is the result of your father's choices. You've done nothing wrong. As I said those words, a sense of resolve solidified within me. I needed to handle this situation properly. For my relationship with Michael, for our family's future, and most importantly, for Ethan's happiness. Ethan, Mom needs to take care of a few things now. But I promise, I'll always put you first in everything I do. Ethan looked at me with worried eyes, but his expression gradually shifted to one of relief. Mom, thank you. That night, Ethan was discharged from the hospital. On our way home, we talked quietly in the car. We decided to tell Michael that Ethan had just experienced mild hyperventilation. Now that I knew the truth, I wasn't sure how to face Michael. The next morning, I woke up early and headed to the living room. Michael was still asleep. As I brewed coffee, I tried to organize the events of the past day and plan my next steps. First, I needed to gather evidence. I had to confirm the photos Ethan had mentioned. But accessing Michael's computer might be challenging. Next, I needed legal advice. If I was considering divorce, I'd need to consult a trustworthy lawyer. Most importantly, I had to take care of Ethan. I needed to minimize the impact of this situation on him. As I formulated my plan, a whirlwind of emotions churned in my chest. Anger, sadness, the pain of betrayal. But I couldn't let these feelings overwhelm me. I had to act calmly and wisely. First, I sat down at the computer. I searched for reputable divorce lawyers in the area and sent an email to schedule a consultation. Then, I checked the websites of private investigation agencies to understand how to request an investigation. Before Michael woke up, I got ready and left the house. On my way to the lawyer's office, I sent a message to Ethan. Mom's going out for a bit. Call me if you need anything. The meeting with the lawyer was more reassuring than I had expected. Jennifer Brown, the attorney, understood my situation and provided level-headed advice. Sarah, gathering evidence is crucial. We need to collect as much information as possible, proof of infidelity, documents showing the existence of a hidden child, and so on. I nodded, taking notes. Also, we need to check your financial situation. Make sure you have a clear understanding of all assets, bank accounts, real estate, investments, everything. Jennifer explained in detail about my rights and the procedures ahead. As I listened, I felt my anxiety gradually easing. We'll file for divorce mediation once we have all the evidence. There's no need to rush. Let's proceed carefully for the sake of your and Ethan's future. After leaving the lawyer's office, I made my next decision. I needed to check the contents of Michael's computer. But how? When I returned home, Ethan greeted me with a worried look. "Mom, are you okay?" I hugged my son. "Yes, I'm fine." "Ethan, let's talk." We sat on the living room sofa, and I explained my plan to Ethan. I told him about the possibility of divorce, the need to gather evidence, and most importantly, that his feelings were my top priority. "Ethan, things might get tough from now on. But Mom will protect you. We'll get through this together." Ethan nodded silently and gently squeezed my hand. "Mom, I'll do my best too. I'll help with Dad's computer." His words brought tears to my eyes. I was deeply grateful for my son's strength and kindness. The road ahead won't be easy. But I believe that if Ethan and I walk it together, we can overcome anything. With that belief, we began preparing to take our first steps into our new life. 6 months have passed since Ethan and I took our first steps into our new life. During this time, we've faced many challenges, but we've overcome them by supporting each other. Gathering evidence was more difficult than I had anticipated. Extracting data from Michael's computer required Ethan's help. His courage and determination touched my heart many times. The divorce mediation dragged on, leaving us mentally and physically exhausted. At first, Michael tried to deny everything, but when confronted with the evidence, he seemed to give up. "Sarah, can't we resolve this through discussion?" he pleaded. Seeing Michael's imploring face, I momentarily recalled our past affection. But when I thought of Ethan, my resolve strengthened. "It's too late, Michael. This is the path you chose." Eventually, the court granted our divorce, with property division decided in my favor. I also received a reasonable amount of alimony. This outcome stirred complex emotions in me. Rather than feeling victorious, I felt a momentary sadness as I realized the end of our 20-year marriage. Meanwhile, Michael's life took a sharp downturn. I heard that when his mistress learned about the significant reduction in his assets, she left him. At work, he was reportedly demoted because of this scandal. "Mom, I feel a little sorry for Dad," Ethan murmured one day. His words warmed my heart, reminding me of my son's kindness. "I understand. But this is the result of life choices. We need to look forward and move on." Our new life began with an unexpectedly refreshing feeling. We sold the condo and moved to a small house in the suburbs. There's a small vegetable garden in the yard, where Ethan and I started growing vegetables together. "Mom, this tomato is so sweet and delicious," Ethan exclaimed, biting into a tomato he had harvested. Seeing him like this filled me with genuine happiness. Ethan also successfully navigated his college applications. He was accepted into his first choice, Ohio State University, where he decided to major in environmental science. "Mom, I want to contribute to solving environmental problems," he said, his eyes shining with determination. I felt proud seeing his passion. I, too, began a new challenge. After the divorce, I left the advertising agency and started studying to become a counselor, a long-held dream of mine. Sarah, your experiences will surely help many people, my instructor told me. Her words filled me with a sense of purpose. On the day of Ethan's college matriculation ceremony, I couldn't hold back my tears as I watched him standing on campus. Mom, don't cry. I'll do my best, Ethan said, hugging me. I'm crying because I'm happy. Ethan, I'm so proud of you. On our way home, Ethan spoke quietly in the car. Mom, thank you for everything back then. I don't know what would have happened to me without you. As I drove, I answered slowly. Ethan, I should be thanking you. It's because of you that I was able to be strong. In that moment, we felt a bond that words couldn't express. Epilogue. 5 years have passed. Ethan is now in graduate school, leading environmental protection projects. I've started working at a local counseling center, supporting many people emotionally. The other day, I ran into Michael at the supermarket by chance. He looked tired and older than his years. Sarah, is Ethan doing well? He asked. Yes, very well. He's immersed in environmental research. I see, that's good. As we parted, Michael muttered. Sarah, I'm sorry. Send my regards to Ethan. When I got home and told Ethan about this encounter, he thought for a moment before saying, Mom, we made the right choice, didn't we? Yes, we did. There were tough times, but we've grown stronger. And most importantly, we've remained a family that cherishes each other. Outside the window, a bird was building a nest in the tree we had planted. The beginning of a new life. Our lives, too, continue to sprout new buds. There will surely be more challenges ahead. But I believe that Ethan and I can weather any storm together. With this belief, we step forward into tomorrow.